Hello YouTube viewers, welcome to my channel Science to Technology. In today's show, Computer Wednesday, we're going to talk about top 5 explanation I have done in my channel. Now the reason why I'm making this is simply because my channel catalog is becoming very vast and I'm seeing a lot of repeat comments. It's like to cover this or do that. It's like that's why I'm trying to compile all this top 5 list, and I will do that every year or so. So this is the first thing that I want to cover is Wi-Fi Dabba. I've already made the video done. It should pop up here and in description. And the reason for that is it's one of the few Indian startups that has a lot of potential. Now there are hundreds, thousands, even millions of startup in India. That's not a new thing or a big thing. It's a problem is most of those startups are running on old philosophy. Not even old philosophies, like quote unquote Indian jugaad philosophy, that is like cheap and best. That's all they are focusing on. It's like, oh, okay, this company is doing something, I can do that thing cheaper. That's it, like cheap and best. But here's the deal: cheap and best never makes you worth something, because the moment somebody else beats your price, you're gone. That's why Apple's reputation is like they're not trying to be cheap and best. Heck, any company that's worth anything has something else other than, hey, I'm competing on price. So this company is not doing that. They are doing what we call best of the best. It's like, I'm gonna give you a service, this will be better than anything else. That's something worth keeping. That's something that allows what we call value, basically intellectual property value. It's like, no, you have something. It's like Apple does not have a hardware that's like mind-bogglingly awesome. What they have is best of the best experience. Basically, they are putting a lot of effort into the software side, and that's why they have such a value. And this company showed me that this Wi-Fi Dabba, the idea is that most people just use tea break. Like in Bangalore is a silicon city of India, so there is a lot of shops. Basically, people go there to drink tea in evening break time. So this is a common place and a lot of people are there. But 4G network, 5G network, those are lol jokes at this point in time. So what if you had a Wi-Fi Dabba there, and this equipment will distribute Wi-Fi signal, and you can charge it up for 2 rupees, 10 rupees and 20 rupees, and you will have like amount of data for a certain amount of time, like 100 MB for 24 hours, 500 MB for 24 hours, or 1 GB for 24 hours. A very cheap price. The idea with that is like, in this sort of location, nothing else will work, because like 5-10 people are trying to utilize 4G at the same time, the network will go YOLO. But this will work precisely at that point in time. And they started to expand this idea. It's like, what if I utilize laser communication, laser interconnects, because mobile towers are cheap, but making sure that you have the fiber connection to run to that mobile tower, that's ludicrously expensive. They're like, what if we have the mobile tower and cut out the fiber and replace the fiber with laser communication? Like even Google is trying to do something similar, and they started it first. That's why I was so impressed by these. It's like this company is going on from 2017, and slowly and surely, but they have slowly starting to make their presence known. And not to mention, they are building their whole equipment from scratch. It's not like, okay, go to D-Link and buy their server equipment. No, they're like, they went to mass production centers and is like, Qualcomm, give us a chip, this exact specification, we're gonna write the exact firmware. Like everything, as much as they can do, they are doing in-house. That gives them the advantage to that Apple smooth pipeline integration, vertical integration, as we say. So I'm really excited by this company, and that's why I wanted to share it with you guys. It's like, not cheap and best of the best. Then we come to the aspect that will affect all our daily lives in few years, 1 or 2 years from now. That is Bluetooth 5.2. Now Bluetooth has gone through a lot of changes. However, Bluetooth is kind of stuck simply because Bluetooth has now two parallel categories running together. One is like Bluetooth Classic, that is used for your headphone, and Bluetooth Low Energy. And a lot of improvement happened in low energy, but your audio was still being sent by Bluetooth Classic. So basically we were stuck. And there were a lot of quote unquote new tech development, but they were never combined into one core spec sheet, and the spec sheet has to be followed by everyone else if it's created by Bluetooth Association. It's like, hey, Bluetooth Association is like, if you want to get the stamp of 5.2, you have to follow these spec sheets. So there was a lot of experience we have gained from emerging Bluetooth market, and there's a very giant what we call capacity gap. It's like, we want this, but we can't do that. Like, we want this company can do that utilizing this hack, and this company does this but utilizing this proprietary technology. So Bluetooth 5.2 tries to solve all of those problems. Now the changes that will happen in Bluetooth 5.2, it's fundamentally huge. For example, Bluetooth, most people have experiences like Bluetooth only allows you to connect one device to one device. For example, your Bluetooth headset only connects to your mobile phone, unless you are lucky enough that you can afford a multi-point system, or you are lucky enough that your headset already has that. You do not know the luxury of like, hey, I have a Bluetooth headset and it also connects to my computer and to my TV and to everything that I have. It's already connected. I don't even have to think about this. Like if I turn on the TV and somebody calls in my phone and I pick up the phone, the TV automatically mutes. It's like nobody knows that the luxurious life that we could have, the Bluetooth multipoint. But because it was a quote unquote hack job added on, so only some companies have that. But 5.2 will make that a standard. Then it will also have other aspects of that standard will be standardized. For example, asynchronous communication. For example, this TV will have the luxury, like depending on its radio power, it can communicate to 30 or even 40 Bluetooth headsets. You might be like, why the heck you want to think of this way? Imagine this was happening on a game night on a pub or restaurant or things of that. People are watching the TV, but everybody is listening quietly. No issues with that. On top of that, you could have a scenario like many Indian news channels have multiple language running simultaneously. You can select that, or you can select it on your headset. It's like, dude, I don't India has many languages, so Europe also has this sort of things where you could be like, hey, I want to listen in English. Awesome, English. Even though the channel could be Hindi, you could be listening in English. Again, it would be dubbed on top of that, but you get the point. That luxurious option opens up. All these things were possible. None of these technologies like, whoa, latest and greatest, how the heck we are utilizing this quantum science. It's not like that. It's just like a lot of things piled up, and people are like, okay, finally we're gonna integrate into this the core specs. So we're gonna have much higher data compression, much better decoding, because again, our processors that have been utilizing from 1990s have improved a lot. So we can do a lot of data compression losslessly. So not only it allows us to make the data pipe much slimmer, that allows for longer range transmission and less interference and reducing latency and doing all that. It also allows us to have much fatter pipe when it's like actually decoded for audio to basically analog to digital converter. So we can have much higher quality audio, at least people are hoping for that, and much user-friendly experience. That I can guarantee you that, because I have, my brother has that one headset that has a JLB headset that has multi-point, and it's like, damn, you're living in the future, man. So lot of new technologies should be available, and this already starting to come with flagship smartphones right now, and by the end of basically 2021 it should be there in high ends, and by 2023 this should become the new normal, where you don't think about how to quote unquote pair and what to pair and how to pair, and just listening to other things. Like that should become normal if things go accordingly. But the world went boom in 2020, so it was like delayed 1 or 2 years. Then we come to IoT. Now IoT, every Tom, Dick and Harry is like, hey, I want IoT. But once you actually sit down and calmly think about it, it's like, it's the worst idea you could ever have. Fundamentally speaking, you're giving up freedom just for a little bit of comfort. It's like, hey, can you make me a bit more lazy so I can give you more control of my life? For example, they are selling the idea that refrigerators have a knob. That knob is supposed to be set based on the season that you have. Like in summer, the knob has to have different setting. In winter, it has to have different setting. Makes sense. We have been utilizing that from 1970 or something like that. So it's a normal technology, but most people are so lazy they don't set it. Like that ends up wasting electricity, causing difficulty in use. So a company comes along, it's like, hey, give us the control of that thermostat control, and we're gonna set it up for you. That's a nightmare idea. It's like the idea that you're gonna control someone else's refrigerator and nobody even blinks an eye about that. It's like, that's dangerous. That's fundamentally dangerous, and out of stupidity that's dangerous. Like, oops, you made a oopsie mistake. You could cause a mass food wastage simply because oops, one bad glitch happened. Again, I'm not talking about malice, I'm talking about stupidity, which happens. We are humans, we are stupid, we make mistakes. That's how we learn. So fundamentally giving up freedom just for control. And not to mention, what does it mean for Alexa? Like if Alexa actually knows exactly what you do, exactly when you poop, exactly when you eat, exactly when you need hot water, how much things she can sell you. It's like, and that's the level 1 control. At level 3 they will know, like, okay, can you please elect this individual because I'm telling you so. So fundamentally giving up that kind of control away from our life just so we can be a bit more lazy, it's like, yeah, that's not acceptable. On top of that, remove even the controlling aspect of it, tinfoil aspect of it, the reality of security exploits. Like these chips are designed for low energy consumption. Ask any individual whose sole job is to make encryption. They're like, dude, encryption on a high-end system requires high dedicated like silicon, which is ludicrously expensive and idiotically complex, and sometimes even power hungry, specifically if you want to have some AI level where it can automatically defense against itself. Like those routers that are deployed in a server where it can do all that, those sort of jazz, yeah, idiotically expensive, and somehow your low-end device is gonna do that. No, that's not happening. So fundamentally this is a security nightmare. No bug fixes, no patches. Heck, we are not getting security updates for our mobile phone more than 3 years, and you want to put the same companies that barely give you a 3-year update, and now mind you, 3 year is now a big deal, because like earlier Android was like buy and forget. Now thankfully Samsung has made some commitment where they are actually honoring the fact that they're gonna give you update for 2 years. I'm still waiting for my Android 11 on my phone, but let's see whether that happens or not. And then they are like, okay, we will try to give 3 years. And think of it this way, you want these sort of company to be in charge of your equipment that you could have been using for 10 years, 20 years or something like that. That's not happening. So fundamentally it's a really bad idea, and I calmly went into explaining all those details. So hope you guys like that video. Then we come to BSNL narrowband IoT device. Now this on the other hand is much more interesting, much more useful and less chaotic, simply because this is not targeted for individual use. This is targeted more towards Indian Railway. Now Indian Railway is huge, as in freaking huge. Like in some data points they suggested, like to understand how big Indian Railway is, put entirety of Australia's population on wheels. It's like, that's how vast that infrastructure is. So maintaining that, that's awesome. Like if you're gonna say, hey, this technology allows a one critical infrastructure of India to be maintained, I'm like all for it. And it's a government thing, so like government already control it. It's just like a better tool for that. So awesome. Then for fishery, because like India has a large sea border, we have a lot of fishery industries, and these places industry are reliant on like sea. So what does that mean? That simply means they are outside of reach of almost every communication system. So this system was deployed, test fitted, and they had an accident where one boat started to take in water, and the person in the boat triggered the emergency alert, SOS, and they were trying to basically trying to stay afloat as long as they can. But because this was satellite communication, it directly sent the signal to Coast Guard. Coast Guard basically the moment they deployed lifeguards as close as possible. While doing that, they also tried to communicate, like find out is there any boat that is much closer. Like, there is a distance, you're not fighter jet, it's gonna take time to go there. It's like, hey, there was 1 or 2 boats that were very close to each other, like, can you please go there? And like life was saved. So this is a critically useful advantageous tool, and they can have two-way communication. That's really awesome. So for a fishery, it's really important. For industries, I'm not talking about like your household, but industry, as in like think of it as a power plant, or basically very far out substations. Those things need a good data communication pipeline. And in India, because of the geodiversity, like you could have a scenario where it's like, dude, the left side of this mountain range you have awesome connection, 4G, 5G, whatever you want, and the right side, yeah, forget about it. So in those sort of scenarios, satellite becomes the only way, and they have already laid the satellite. BSNL already owns a lot of satellite in geostationary. They are utilizing that system itself. So it was not like we're gonna launch satellite. No, we already have it. So it was really interesting use, and for industry it's really helpful. Fishery, they have already proven their worth, and because of the size of railway, there is no other method of utilizing this. So right tool for the right job. So I'm really happy with the approach BSNL has taken, and this allowed India to have a basically crown where they are like, awesome, we're gonna be like directly providing IoT, Internet of Things devices utilizing satellites. That's a big achievement. So I'm really happy about this technology. Right tool for the right job. Now we come to the blockchain. Like there is no single YouTuber who's like who deals with tech and does not get requests to take care of this. And I have also taken care of this. Now, fundamentally speaking, what happened? The world went to hell, so to say, in 2008, and things went bad really quickly and out of stupidity. It was not malice. That's the part that I want people to truly grasp. It was like, it was stupidity. It's like any Tom, Dick, and Harry who has calmly think about it is like, no, don't do this. This will end badly. But that did not happen. We did not have failsafe, and it destroyed the world. And consequence of that stock market crash, the housing loan crisis, people lost faith. People lost what we call trust. Now, financial system can only work on trust. So blockchain was created to solve that problem. Now blockchain, first product of the blockchain that was like largely popular, that was Bitcoin. Now Bitcoin kind of failed into like what it actually wanted to do. However, it did create a new paradigm in terms of security and trust. That's why this is so important. It's like now every Tom, Dick, and Harry thinks about, hey, can we utilize this smart contract in a blockchain in architecture, so we can be like damn sure that nobody is scamming us, nobody is like tricking us or trolling us. So in those sort of scenario, you can easily understand that blockchain itself is taking care of the trust aspect. There are talks in Indian government. They are like, what if we take care of the land rights? Land rights are very complicated, very messy thing. What if at least the land rights that have been taken care of? It's like, no, we had gone through the court battle, it's taken care of now. Make sure we encode that in a blockchain so nobody else can tamper in the future. And like tax rules and all that jazz, so no corrupt individual can like exploit the power of government or things of that nature. So amazing things are happening because of this. However, Bitcoin itself did not fare that well, because Bitcoin, the idea was people will use this as like a normal mode of currency, which is not happening because Bitcoin basically became a new digital gold where every rich person is just holding it. So basically the people who caused 2008 crisis, they kind of exploited this also. So Bitcoin did not succeed in what they wanted to do. However, as a like new mindset change, new as in like, hey, let's think about this. Let's try to solve some problems. I'm really happy what blockchain has allowed us to do. So in terms of usability, financial wise, not so useful, but in terms of files management, in terms of data transfer, in terms of reliably, accurately claiming something, that's really useful. So I'm really happy with the security and the trust aspect. Does this mean that it can never be cracked? Hell no. It simply means the people right now who possess the ability to crack it, they will not crack it because it would be useless. It will be like, yeah, let's take over this bank, and the bank has 1 million and you spend 10 billion trying to crack the bank. It would be like that. That's the whole point of Bitcoin. And as times will go along and as we have more faster and faster computer, breaking them will become more and more feasible. However, the design was built in such a way it can be expanded lively, like live updates can be done, quote unquote. So it can be safe for a very long time. Like, does it mean it's never gonna have any bad days? No, that's not happening. But it's like for very long term, it should be stable, and it should take serious amount of force to destroy this, rather than like, oops, I thought like, house always have a permanent value. It's like, no, house does not have a permanent. There is always a supply and demand. You mess that part up, you're gonna destroy the market, and you destroy the market. So that's why I'm really happy with the blockchain. I have made a detailed video about that also. So this was my presentation on top 5 things that I have covered so far, and like for unique reasons, and I hope you have liked it and you go and watch those videos and have fun with that. If that is the case, please press the like button, share it among your friends. That will help me a lot. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I urge you to press dislike. Press it twice to show me extra disappointment. Please leave a comment because I try to reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free, and as always, thanks for watching.